If you enjoy the content on this channel, please like and subscribe. The Fall Guy is a 2024 American action comedy film directed by David Leitch from the screenplay by Drew Pearce, loosely based on the television series of the same name. It stars Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Erin Taylor Johnson, Hannah Waddingham, Teresa Palmer, Stephanie Hsu, and Winston Duke. In the film, Colt Seavers, played by Gosling, is a stuntman working on his ex-girlfriend's directorial debut film. He finds himself involved in a conspiracy surrounding the film's lead actor, Tom Ryder. The Fall Guy premiered at the SXSW on March 12, 2024, and was released in the United States on May 3rd by Universal Pictures. It received generally positive reviews from critics and has grossed $145 million worldwide. It also set a Guinness World Record for the most cannon rolls ever performed by a stunt vehicle. In July 2010, the Los Angeles Times reported that a film based on the 1980s series The Fall Guy was in development. DreamWorks Pictures had teamed up with producers Walter F. Parks and Laurie MacDonald on the project, and Martin Campbell was in talks to direct the film. In September of 2013, Dwayne Johnson was in negotiations to play the title role, and Mac G was in talks to direct. In September 2020, Ryan Gosling, director David Leitch, and writer Drew Pearce were said to be working on an unnamed stuntman film that had been picked up by Universal Pictures. In May 2022, it was confirmed that the project was a film adaptation of The Fall Guy. Loosely based on the TV series, the film is produced by Universal with Leitch's 87 North Productions and Gosling's Entertainment 360, with Leitch and Kelly McCormack producing alongside Gosling and Guymon Cassidy. Variety then reported that the Australian government and the New South Wales state authorities added funds to the production of up to $30 million Australian dollars and $14.5 million Australian dollars respectively, with Paul Fletcher, Australia's Federal Minister of Communications, Urban Infrastructure, Cities and Arts, estimating a boom to the local economy of over 1,000 Australian cast and crew and more than 3,015 Australian film extras. Emily Blunt was then cast in August 2022. Gosling and Blunt then took inspiration from Leitch and his producer wife Kelly McCormack for the romantic relationship between their characters. Blunt's role was originally a makeup artist, but was rewritten to be a first-time director before she received a draft of the script. Blunt had some input on the character, stating, "We all kind of built her together because I think maybe in the original script she was quite severe and sort of a tough director. She thought it would be more interesting to see someone who's in a situation where they are way over their head." For the character, Blunt took inspiration from director Greta Gerwig and several other people she had met. Principal photography began in October 2022 in Sydney, Australia, at the Disney Studios Australia in Moore Park, Sydney. In January 2023, the Sydney Harbour Bridge was closed for several daytime hours for filming scenes involving Gosling. The film has a production budget of $130 million. Deadline Hollywood also stated its $130 million production cost after Australian tax credits, though added some have heard production cost was even higher than $150 million. Unfortunately, Fall Guy underperformed at its opening weekend. It was expected to make $40 million, but instead brought home just $28 million. The film used practical stunts with highly choreographed action sequences. Leitch stated, "It was a love letter to stunts. We knew we had to be authentic in that world." It broke the Guinness Book World Record for the most cannon rolls in a car, with 8.5 rolls performed by stunt driver Logan Holiday. Cannon rolls are performed by firing a cannon-like device into the ground from a moving vehicle. Fall Guy's score was composed by Dominic Lewis. The film incorporates songs by AC/DC, Taylor Swift, Kiss, The Darkness, Phil Collins, and Blake Shelton's cover of The Unknown Stuntman, the theme song from the series originally performed by Lee Majors. Some fun trivia notes. Ryan Gosling has a fear of heights, but still did the 150-foot fall at the beginning of the movie. Metal Storm is a real film from 1983, namely Metal Storm: The Destruction of the Jared Sin. It even shares the same tagline, "It's high noon at the edge of the universe." Ryan Gosling had at least 4 stunt doubles. Chris O'Hara received a credit for a crew position of stunt designer, believed to be the first credit of its kind. The role of stunt designer is meant to acknowledge the high level of artistic contribution of the traditional stunt coordinator role and recognize creative leadership within the stunts industry. Cole is asked whether there is an Oscar for stunts in the movies, which he denies. This is a real frustration among stunt performers, given that almost every other technical category has its own award at the Oscars, and the mere fact that the Emmys and SAG Awards actually do give out awards for this, whilst the Oscars refuses to. Director David Leitch, a former stuntman himself, said he made The Fall Guy as a love letter to the stunt community, giving them a recognition that they deserve. Many filmmakers, including Lynch, have been pushing for years to have an Oscar for best stunts, but the Academy's motivations for not doing so is that the award ceremony is already quite long, and that the best stunts Oscar might prompt stunt teams to go more extreme and to unsafe lengths just to win the award. At one point in the movie, Tom Ryder appears to be doing a very bad Matthew McConaughey impersonation and says the line, "I've been killing aliens long before anybody paid me to." This is a reference to the infamous Lincoln car commercials where McConaughey would say, "I've been driving Lincolns long before anybody paid me to." Justin Eaton plays Henry, a stuntman for the Metal Storm who doubles for Tom Ryder. Justin Eaton is also an actual stuntman who doubled for Eric Taylor Johnson and Ryan Gosling for stunts in The Fall Guy and can be seen clearly in the credits, outtake scenes. Just before the climatic 250-foot jump, the speedometer on the car can be seen to read 88, which is the speed in which the DeLorean activates time travel device in Back to the Future. Ryan Gosling had previously played a stuntman who uses his training in connection to criminality in Drive, released in 2011. David Leitch made the choice to direct this movie instead of Will Smith's Fast and Loose the week before Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars in 2022. While Colt is in recovery from his injury near the start of the film, he places two circular devices on his back. These are known as TENS, transaxuous electrical nerve stimulators. They are used in physical therapy to stimulate the brain signals to nerves, in this example being used to exercise the muscles and theoretically heal quicker. The film makes the use of the famous theme song Against All Odds, released in 1984. The Phil Collins hit ballad was nominated for Best Original Song category at the Oscars and Golden Globes and received 3 Grammy nominations. Original score for the film, Song of the Year, and Best Pop Vocal Performance Male, winning in the last category. As mentioned earlier, the movie is based on the TV series The Fall Guy, released in the 1980s. Lee Majors played Colt Seavers, a Hollywood stuntman who also moonlights as a bounty hunter, where there's little movie work. Majors himself and the show's famous vehicle, the 1981 GMC K2050 Wideside, appear in the film, as well as his co-star Heather Thomas, who played Jodie Banks in the series. Now this is a purely over-the-top, fun action flick. It has a mixture of action, comedy, romance, and a pair of really well-cast and glorious leads with excellent chemistry here in Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling. Look, this is by no means a deep, nuanced sort of film. It is what it is, which at the end of the day is supposed to be about fun, escapism, with over-the-top action sequences that will leave you gasping in amazement, all the while of course paying homage to the almost forgotten industry of stunt people. These are the people behind the actors that do these most dangerous of action sequences that we don't even really take note of, or rather, of course, believe that the lead actor that we're watching at the time is actually doing them when they really are not. So in many ways, this film has actually got quite a good message, and I think David Leitch has really done himself a justice here. By being a former stuntman himself, he's really made a film here almost in tribute to the stunt industry. And without a doubt in my mind, the stunt performers should easily be recognised at the major award shows. In many ways, it's sort of like a pushback against all the CGI-heavy laden films that we see these days, going back to the old school style of car chases, rolls, bombs, and people setting themselves on fire. You almost wonder if there will be a future for the stunt performers if CGI tends to take over every aspect of filmmaking. As I said, this film never takes itself too seriously. It's completely, utterly tongue-in-cheek, and it almost has a dig at these major blockbusters that are sort of heartless, passionless, and just done to make lots of money at the box office. Blunt and Gosling just have a lot of fun in their respective roles. Of course, naturally, the two starred in 2 of the biggest films in 2023, with Blunt being in Oppenheimer and Gosling being in Barbie. Here they combine their talents to deliver a fun, easy, comprehensible love story between a first-time director and an experienced stuntman. Gosling has really found a niche within his career now as being the sort of over-the-top funny action man. I would like to see him once again dive into some more dramatic type of roles, but with his natural charm and charisma, he really does pull off these type of roles perfectly as well. As does Blunt here, who almost seem to ad-lib a lot of her dialogue. I love the setting here of Australia, and yes, it's one of those films where you never really felt that the main antagonists are ever in peril, and the story is somewhat predictable, but like I said, I actually found this to be quite a lot of fun, and it just is a good action comedy romp. I also loved all the subtle little Easter eggs that you can easily miss if you don't listen carefully or don't quite catch the reference, but they're there for film buffs and film lovers. Will leave you delighted. This is a film that literally made me smile from start to finish. No, it's not a film classic, but what it is though is good old-fashioned action fun, done with a glint in its eye and a smirk upon its face. The Fall Guy gets an 8.5 out of 10.